In the far reaches of the galaxy, humanity had earned a reputation unlike any other species. Wherever humans went, they brought peace, fairness, and understanding. Alien civilizations admired humans for their honesty and patience, and many relied on their diplomacy to solve conflicts that had lasted centuries. Earth had become the center of interstellar negotiation, a hub where the most complex disputes were settled without bloodshed. Humans were known for being fair, kind, and, above all, reasonable, but being reasonable had a price. For centuries, humans' patience was tested, stretched, and often exploited. Many alien species saw kindness as weakness. Trade agreements were twisted, resources were taken without permission, and human colonies were raided under the pretense of misunderstanding. Despite these provocations, humans held to their principles. They believed violence was a last resort, and that respect and honor could solve almost any problem. On Earth, in the heart of the United Nations Interstellar Council, diplomats debated another incident. A small human research vessel, the Aurora, had been ambushed while visiting the planet Zelvoria, a neutral world known for its beautiful crystal forests and floating lakes. The mission was peaceful. Humans had gone there only to study the planet's rare minerals and share their knowledge. Instead, the crew had been captured, their equipment stolen, and their findings claimed as Zelvoria's own. Ambassador Lena Ramirez slammed her fist on the council table. "This is the third time this year alone that our missions have been attacked," she said, her voice trembling with anger. "Our scientists are being kidnapped, our resources stolen, and yet we continue to try peaceful resolutions. How long are we supposed to accept this?" Her words echoed across the council chamber. Some members sat in silence, uneasy with her tone, while others tried to calm her. "We must maintain diplomacy," said Ambassador Vorthan of the Meridian Collective, his long green fingers tapping nervously on the table. "Humans are respected for their fairness. If we retaliate, it could harm our reputation." Lena shook her head, her eyes blazing. "Respected? We are laughed at, Vorthan. Exploited every single day. Our so-called respect is meaningless if it allows others to take what they want. Enough is enough." Outside the council chambers in the bustling streets of New Tokyo City, news of the Aurora incident had caused unrest. Citizens crowded around public screens, watching footage of the ambush. Humans of all ages were talking about it in hushed, angry tones. For the first time, the general population questioned whether patience was a virtue. Many felt betrayed by centuries of kindness, and a sense of frustration spread like wildfire. Among the crowd was Captain Marcus Hale, a decorated officer of the Earth Space Corps. He had spent years training astronauts and security personnel for peaceful missions, yet he could not ignore the growing sense of urgency. "We have been pushed too far," he muttered to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Aisha Chen. "They think we will always forgive, always give in. But one day that patience will end, and when it does, they will regret underestimating us." Across the galaxy, other humans shared similar feelings. Colonies on distant planets reported repeated harassment by alien traders who demanded resources without fair compensation. Scientists and explorers faced constant threats. Even the Earth government, which had always preached restraint, was forced to admit that diplomacy alone might no longer be enough. Dr. Layla Arman, a leading human scientist on the research station Titan 7, had seen it firsthand. "We came here to share knowledge, to learn together," she said in a confidential message to Earth Command. "Instead, our research is being stolen, our people threatened. How many more times must we be patient before someone realizes humans are not to be toyed with?" The turning point came when a distress signal reached Earth from the Aurora. The transmission was brief but chilling. "Crew captured. Cannot negotiate. Trust no one. Need help." Then silence. The human population waited for hours, hoping for any word of rescue. When none came, a wave of anger swept through Earth and its colonies. The media picked up the story, broadcasting images of the Aurora's damaged hull and empty laboratories. Headlines screamed about betrayal, exploitation, and injustice. Humans across the galaxy finally felt a shared emotion that had been building quietly for centuries: indignation. For so long they had tried to resolve problems peacefully, to rise above insults and theft. But now the message was clear: patience had limits. In the council chambers, Earth's leaders convened an emergency session. President Alaric Yamada addressed the assembly with a voice firm yet resolute. We have tolerated exploitation for too long. We have offered peace while others have taken advantage. Today we must acknowledge a hard truth. Kindness alone is not enough. Humanity has been patient, fair, and forgiving, but we will no longer allow others to abuse our goodwill. A murmur ran through the room. Some diplomats were shocked, others uneasy, but President Yamada continued. We will not act out of cruelty or revenge. Our goal is simple: to protect humanity, our people, and our dignity. We will prepare ourselves not just to negotiate, but to defend, to assert, and if necessary, to fight. Let this be the beginning of a new era, where humans are no longer underestimated. In secret facilities across Earth and its colonies, preparations began. Scientists and engineers accelerated the development of advanced ships and weapons. Military strategists began designing training programs that combined human ingenuity with precision tactics. Intelligence officers gathered detailed information on alien alliances and trade networks. For centuries, humans had hidden the full extent of their potential. Now it would be revealed. At the same time, ordinary humans were awakening to a new reality. Farmers, engineers, teachers, and doctors discussed the need to stand firm. Children learned about resilience and courage alongside their usual lessons. Communities volunteered to support human fleets with resources, logistics, and research. A shared determination spread. Humans would no longer be passive, no longer naive. They would be ready. In the midst of these preparations, Captain Marcus Hale stood on the bridge of the flagship Indomitable. He gazed at the stars stretching endlessly before him. They think we are weak, he said quietly to Lieutenant Chen. They think we will always choose peace. But they don't know humanity. They don't understand patience, endurance, and intelligence combined. Soon they will see what we are capable of, and they will wish they had never underestimated us. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, alien civilizations continued their usual exploits, unaware of the storm gathering on the horizon. Traders laughed at humans' warnings. Colonies ignored appeals for fairness. They assumed nothing had changed, that humans would continue to forgive, continue to accept exploitation as the price of being good. But humanity was no longer the same. The ambushed Aurora, the stolen research, the countless insults and betrayals, they were all pieces of a growing mosaic of resolve. Humans had been patient, generous, and kind for centuries. They had taught lessons in diplomacy, fairness, and integrity to species far older than themselves. Yet the galaxy had ignored every warning, every gesture of goodwill. The breaking point had arrived, and when humans finally acted, they would not act for cruelty, for revenge, or for conquest. They would act for respect, for survival, and for the unshakable belief that kindness should never be mistaken for weakness. The galaxy would soon witness a species that had mastered patience and had chosen to show the full strength of their resolve. For the first time in history, humans were ready to fight, not because they wanted war, but because they had been left no choice. They had been pushed too far, and the world they had built with patience and fairness had been challenged beyond endurance. The era of limitless tolerance had ended, and the era of human strength, cunning, and determination was about to begin. After the breaking point, humanity moved with a quiet determination that few outside Earth could understand. The galaxy still saw humans as gentle, forgiving, and predictable, but that perception was about to change. Behind the calm surface of cities, research stations, and colonies, humans were preparing for something the galaxy had never imagined. On Earth, in a massive underground facility beneath the new Tokyo spaceport, engineers and scientists worked day and night. They were not designing weapons for conquest. They were creating tools for precision, speed, and adaptability. Massive starships designed for both exploration and combat stood ready in hidden docks. Advanced energy shields, rapid response drones, and highly maneuverable fighter crafts were all being prepared, alongside exosuits that allowed humans to fight in space, on planets, or even in zero gravity with ease. Dr. Layla Arman, who had once begged alien species for fairness and protection, now led a team designing intelligence systems that could predict enemy movements. They think we fight like them. Big, loud, and slow, she said, adjusting the interface on her holographic display. They do not understand human ingenuity. They do not know how quickly we can adapt, how fast we learn, and how we use every small advantage to our benefit. Meanwhile, Captain Marcus Hale oversaw human combat training. The Earth Space Corps was no longer preparing only for exploration or defense. Soldiers, scientists, engineers, and volunteers from across colonies were trained in strategy, tactics, and teamwork. Humans were learning not just to fight, but to think like their enemies, to anticipate moves, and to turn what others considered weaknesses into strengths. Lieutenant Aisha Chen, Marcus's second-in-command, watched a squad of recruits during a training exercise. They moved with perfect coordination, communicating silently, predicting each other's actions, and responding to unexpected situations with calm efficiency. "We've always had the ability," Chen said quietly, "but now the galaxy will finally see it. They will understand that patience is not weakness. It is preparation." As humans trained and built their capabilities, intelligence officers gathered information from every corner of the galaxy. Alien species had long assumed that humans would remain passive, and that belief was their greatest mistake. Humans discovered hidden weaknesses in enemy fleets, poorly defended supply routes, and rivalries among civilizations that had never been fully resolved. Every bit of information was carefully recorded, analyzed, and used to create strategies that combined precision, speed, and creativity. On the colony planet of Virelia, a human outpost intercepted communications from a hostile trade alliance. Traders boasted about exploiting human colonies and discussed their next raids, but the humans did not panic. Instead, they marked coordinates, studied the traders' fleets, and sent the intelligence back to Earth. Every insult, every act of theft, every challenge became fuel for humanity's preparation. They were no longer passive observers, they were architects of their own destiny. Across the galaxy, ordinary humans played their part as well. Farmers, engineers, and merchants provided supplies and resources. Teachers incorporated tactical thinking and problem-solving into lessons for children. Communities volunteered to send their best minds to support scientific research and fleet planning. It was not just a military effort, it was a global interstellar movement. Humanity was uniting with a common purpose, fueled by centuries of patience and now a burning determination. The human fleet itself began to take shape in orbit around Earth. Ships of all sizes, from small, rapid response fighters to massive cruisers, docked and prepared for action. The fleet was designed to move quickly, strike precisely, and withdraw before the enemy could recover. Marcus Hale inspected the ships personally, noting every detail. "They think we will engage like the others," he said. "But they have no idea that we fight smarter, faster, and together. Every strike we make will be calculated. Every move will surprise them." Technology and strategy were only part of humanity's strength. Humans had an advantage that no alien species could replicate: creativity. While others relied on brute force, rigid protocols, and predictable tactics, humans combined ingenuity with intuition. They tested scenarios, created simulations, and developed plans that accounted for every possibility. Even the smallest teams could outsmart much larger enemy forces, because humans thought not only with their minds but with experience, emotion, and the will to survive. Dr. Layla Arman activated a simulation showing a hostile alien fleet approaching a human colony. The enemy outnumbered the humans 3-1 and had superior firepower. On the screen, humans moved strategically using terrain, speed, and teamwork to outmaneuver the alien ships. Within minutes, the simulation showed the humans defending the colony successfully, forcing the aliens to retreat. Layla smiled. "They will never see us coming," she said. "They will never understand how prepared we are." Meanwhile, the aliens remained confident. Reports of human mobilization reached their councils, but many dismissed them. "Humans will never attack," said Admiral Vork of the Krillith Dominion. "They are kind, fair, and always willing to negotiate. This is just another bluff." But even as he spoke, spies and scouts reported increasing human activity, fleets moving through hidden routes, and communications coded to prevent interception. The aliens' underestimation was exactly what humanity needed. The turning point of preparation came during a secret meeting on Earth's moon. Leaders of Earth, the colonies, and key fleet commanders gathered in a massive underground command center. Holographic maps displayed alien territories, trade routes, and weak points. Each human leader spoke about their plan, emphasizing precision, defense, and the message they wanted to send. Humanity was not preparing to destroy for revenge. They were preparing to show the galaxy that exploitation would no longer be tolerated. President Alaric Yamada addressed, The assembly with a voice that carried the weight of centuries. We have been pushed, insulted, and taken advantage of for too long. Today, humanity awakens. We are no longer the species that only negotiates. We are the species that ensures respect is given where it is due. Our first mission will not be to conquer, but to demonstrate our strength. And the galaxy will take notice. Every member of the Council and Fleet Command understood the importance of this moment. Humans had been underestimated for generations. Other species had treated their patience as a weakness. But now every step humanity had taken, every technological innovation, every strategic plan, every training exercise was about to prove that kindness was not weakness. Across the galaxy, ordinary humans watched as the news of preparations began to reach them. It was not an announcement of war, but a statement of readiness. Communities rallied, sending supplies, volunteers, and intelligence to support the fleet. Children, inspired by stories of human ingenuity and courage, dreamed not only of exploration, but of defending their species with creativity, determination, and unity. On the bridge of the flagship Indomitable, Marcus Hale looked at the fleet assembled before him. Hundreds of ships, each representing years of preparation, intelligence, and ingenuity, glimmered against the stars. "This is only the beginning," he said. "We have waited patiently. We have learned, adapted, and prepared. And now the galaxy will see what humans can do when pushed too far." Lieutenant Chen nodded. "They will remember this. Every species that doubted us will learn the same lesson. And we will do it without cruelty, without needless violence. We fight for respect, fairness, and survival. That is our strength." As the humans continued their preparation, alien civilizations remained blind to the true power they faced. They assumed humans would continue to forgive, continue to accept exploitation, and continue to be predictable. That confidence, built on centuries of misjudgment, was humanity's greatest advantage. The galaxy was about to witness a species that had long been underestimated rise like never before. Humans, patient and kind for generations, were now ready to show the full extent of their abilities. They would strike with precision, outsmart their opponents, and demand respect, not through tyranny, but through determination, creativity, and skill. And the moment of awakening was almost here. The galaxy slept in ignorance of the storm gathering on the edge of human space. Alien civilizations continued their routines, exploiting human colonies, stealing resources, and dismissing Earth's warnings. They assumed that humanity's patience would last forever. They were wrong. On the command deck of the flagship Indomitable, Captain Marcus Hale surveyed the fleet assembled in orbit around Earth. Hundreds of ships, sleek and powerful, waited silently. Their weapons were precise, their shields nearly impenetrable, and their crews trained to perfection. Each human ship represented years of planning, training, and preparation. Today, all of that would be put to the test. Lieutenant Aisha Chen approached him, her expression calm but determined. "The coordinates are set," she said. "Target, the Zarnak trade hub. They've been exploiting our colonies for decades. This will be a warning, not annihilation. We strike with precision, then withdraw." Marcus nodded. "We've prepared for this. The Zarnaks think humans fight like everyone else, brute force, predictable moves. They will be surprised. Remember, we are not here to destroy unnecessarily. We are here to show strength and demand respect." Below, in the crowded control rooms of human command centers across colonies, teams of analysts, strategists, and engineers monitored every move. The operation was coordinated with mathematical precision. Every ship, every drone, every energy beam had a specific purpose. Humans had learned that victory did not come from numbers alone, but from intelligence, adaptability, and timing. The first strike was quiet. Sensors picked up the Zarnak fleet moving along their trade routes, unaware that humans were already within range. Using stealth technologies and hyper-efficient engines, human ships slipped past patrols, approaching the trade hub undetected. For centuries, aliens had relied on their superior numbers to intimidate humans. Now that confidence was their greatest weakness. Captain Hale activated the fleet's communication system, sending a single message across the Zarnak network. The message was short, direct, and unmistakable. "We are no longer your victims. Respect humanity, or face the consequences." Moments later, the human ship struck, not with chaos but with precision. Energy pulses disabled key defensive systems on the Zarnak stations. Drone swarms neutralized patrol ships without harming nearby civilian vessels. Communication arrays were jammed, isolating the hub from reinforcements. Humans were not destroying for revenge, they were sending a message. Exploitation would no longer be tolerated. On board the Zarnak flagship, Admiral Vork barked orders as alarms blared. What is happening? Why are they here? They should have stayed peaceful. His officers scrambled, trying to coordinate a response, but the humans moved faster than they could comprehend. Every maneuver the Zarnaks attempted had already been anticipated by human strategists. Human ships slipped between defenses, struck weak points, and then vanished before the enemy could counterattack. It was not only an attack, it was a demonstration of human ingenuity and coordination. Meanwhile, on the ground of the Zarnak colonies, panic spread. Citizens watched as human strikes disabled the trade hub's defenses, yet no civilian areas were targeted. Humans made it clear this was not slaughter. It was warning, calculated and precise. News feeds across the colonies broadcasted images of the operation. The Zarnak population, long accustomed to exploiting human colonies, now faced a species they had underestimated. Fear mixed with awe. Back on the bridge of the Indomitable, Marcus Hale studied the results. They underestimated us for too long, he said quietly. Now they will remember. Today is not about destruction, it is about awakening. Every species that has treated humans as weak will learn the same lesson. Lieutenant Chen monitored the fleet. Damage is minimal, casualties avoided. They won't forget this, but they won't lose trust entirely. Our message is clear. Humanity is not to be trifled with. As humans completed the strike and withdrew, reports began flooding in from other sectors. Alien species that had once dismissed humanity now realized they had misjudged the quiet, patient race. Fleet commanders who had planned raids and thefts paused, reconsidering their strategies. Word of the human precision strike spread faster than any weapon could fire. Humans had shown that they could act decisively, efficiently, and without unnecessary destruction, a combination that alien civilizations had not seen before. The success of the first strike was not only in the military precision, but also in the psychological impact. Humans had proven that patience did not equal weakness. Centuries of being underestimated had ended in a carefully calculated demonstration of power. The galaxy for the first time truly saw humans as a species capable of defending themselves, and more. Back on Earth, celebrations were quiet but heartfelt. Citizens, scientists, and military personnel knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had sent its first message, but the galaxy had yet to fully understand the scale of human potential. Captain Hale addressed the fleet via a secure channel. This is just the first step. We have shown what we can do when pushed too far. Remember, we fight not for glory, but for respect and survival. Our patience has ended, and now our resolve will be seen. Across distant human colonies, leaders and citizens received the news with a mix of pride and determination. The patience that had defined humanity for centuries had now transformed into action. Communities that had once relied on diplomacy alone now understood the full measure of human strength. Even the aliens who had dismissed humanity began to adjust. Some attempted diplomacy, sending cautious messages through secure channels. Others, still blinded by arrogance, prepared defensive measures, unsure whether they faced a threat or a temporary demonstration. Every action was met with careful observation by human intelligence teams, who were always 2 steps ahead. In the following days, humanity used the momentum of the first strike to further secure their colonies and trade routes. Hidden fleets patrolled the edges of human space, ready to respond to any aggression. Humans began to demonstrate that even in conflict, their approach was different, precise, intelligent, and calculated. No unnecessary destruction, no cruel attacks, only the firm assertion of strength and self-respect. Captain Hale, standing on the observation deck of the Indomitable, gazed at the stars stretching into the distance. They will not forget this, he said. Every species that underestimated us will take note. They have learned that humanity is patient, but not limitless. They will know that kindness is a choice, and when that choice ends, humans can be unstoppable. Lieutenant Chen nodded. This is only the beginning. Every future action will reinforce the lesson. We do not fight because we want war. We fight because we will not be ignored. Humanity's patience has a limit, and now the galaxy knows where it ends. Meanwhile, Dr. Layla Arman and her team analyzed the impact of the strike. The efficiency, coordination, and precision of the human forces had been unmatched. Alien civilizations now had proof that humans were not only capable of defending themselves, but also of planning and executing operations that combined strategy, intelligence, and adaptability. The galaxy had been shaken, and for the first time, humans were no longer underestimated. Even the smallest human colonies began to change. Farmers, engineers, and ordinary citizens realized that they were part of something greater. They were not just passive observers. They were contributors to humanity's awakening. Children looked to the skies with awe, inspired by the knowledge that their species could defend itself with courage, intelligence, and ingenuity. The first strike was more than a military action. It was a message to the galaxy. Humanity had been patient, forgiving, and kind for centuries. But patience, no matter how enduring, had limits. The galaxy had crossed those limits. Now humans had shown what they were capable of. And for the first time, the galaxy understood that humans were not just survivors. They were a force to be reckoned with. The storm had begun. And when humans chose to fight, they would fight not with blind rage, but with precision, intelligence, and unstoppable determination. The first strike had only opened the door. The galaxy would soon learn that patience could give way to power, and kindness could give way to unstoppable force. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Within days of the first strike on the Zarnak trade hub, alien civilizations that had long dismissed humanity began to tremble. The whispers of fear traveled faster than any fleet, faster than any messenger. Humans were no longer the species to negotiate with politely. They were a force to be reckoned with, precise, intelligent, and relentless in defense of their dignity. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Marcus Hale watched incoming reports. Multiple alien factions had scrambled their fleets, but human intelligence and strategy had anticipated nearly every move. "They don't know how to respond," he said quietly. "They expected us to be predictable. They assumed patience would last forever. Now they are learning the truth. Humans are never predictable when pushed too far." Lieutenant Aisha Chen scanned the latest updates. "The Zarnak fleet has scattered," she said. "Other species are hesitating. They are trying to form alliances, but they can't agree. Everyone underestimates us, and that is exactly the advantage we need." Meanwhile, on the surface of Zarnak Prime, citizens and leaders watched as human ships maintained a defensive perimeter around key colonies. Humans had deliberately avoided unnecessary destruction, choosing instead to disable critical systems and demonstrate their capabilities. The message was clear: respect humans or face consequences. Fear rippled through every alien council, from traders to military leaders, as they realized that the species they had treated as naive and weak now commanded strategic brilliance, speed, and strength that few could match. Even among more distant civilizations, news spread rapidly. For centuries, aliens had studied humans, convinced of their passive nature. Traders, conquerors, and diplomats alike assumed that humans could be manipulated, bribed, or ignored. The first strike shattered that illusion. Across the galaxy, factions began to reassess their plans, scrambling to protect colonies, trade routes, and fleets. For the first time, aliens realized that underestimating humans was a mistake that could not be ignored. Back on Earth, President Alaric Yamada addressed the United Nations Interstellar Council via a secure holographic broadcast. "The galaxy has seen our message," he said. "Humanity has been patient, fair, and kind for generations. But patience is not weakness. Respect is not optional. From this moment, humans will defend their dignity, their people, and their colonies with the full measure of their abilities. The galaxy will understand that kindness should never be mistaken for weakness." Dr. Layla Arman monitored alien responses from her laboratory on Titan 7. "They are panicking," she observed. "They thought patience would last forever. Every alliance they try to form is delayed by doubt. Every move they make is anticipated. They are learning the cost of underestimating humans." In orbit around Virelia, a human fleet intercepted a communication between two alien admirals. "The humans. They fight smarter than we expected," one said nervously. "Their coordination is unmatched. They anticipate every move. What are we to do?" The other officer hesitated. "Perhaps we should negotiate." But negotiation was no longer the first instinct. Alien civilizations were shocked. They had relied on exploitation, intimidation, and manipulation for centuries. Now they faced a species that demanded respect and had the power to enforce it. The shock was not just strategic, it was cultural. The galaxy had long seen humans as moral, patient, and forgiving. That perception had been shattered in the blink of an eye. On Earth, ordinary citizens followed the events with awe. Families gathered around screens, listening to reports from colonies and fleets. Children asked questions about courage, strategy, and human ingenuity. Teachers incorporated lessons about resilience, adaptation, and unity. Across every planet and colony, a new pride spread. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were architects of their destiny. Humanity had proven that patience, intelligence, and unity could challenge even the most powerful civilizations. Captain Marcus Hale convened a meeting of top fleet commanders aboard the Indomitable. "The galaxy is watching," he said. "They are learning that humans are not predictable, that we do not act out of fear, and that we do not forgive exploitation without consequence. Our next steps must continue this lesson. Every engagement must be calculated. Every action must demonstrate our strength without cruelty. We fight not to destroy, but to ensure the galaxy understands. Humanity is not to be trifled with." Lieutenant Chen added, "They fear us because we act with purpose, intelligence, and unity. Every species that underestimated us now knows that patience has a limit. And we are only beginning." While the humans prepared for further operations, alien civilizations scrambled. Some sought secret alliances, others attempted rapid militarization, and a few tried to communicate peace. But no civilization could fully anticipate the humans' next moves. Every strategy the aliens attempted was carefully observed and countered. Human adaptability was unmatched. Their creativity and tactics allowed smaller fleets to outmaneuver much larger forces, turning seemingly weak positions into victories. In a hidden observation post on the edge of human space, Dr. Layla Arman analyzed a simulation showing potential alien responses. "They can't agree," she noted. "Their disagreements delay their actions. Their overconfidence made them underestimate us. Every hesitation is our advantage. They have learned too late that humans do not remain passive when pushed." Back on the Zarnak colonies, citizens whispered about humans with a mix of fear and admiration. Leaders who had once mocked humanity now scrambled to secure their positions. They realized that humans were capable of thinking, adapting, and executing with precision. The psychological impact of the first strike, combined with the visible preparation of human fleets, had transformed human perception across the galaxy. Even smaller alien groups, those previously uninvolved in human affairs, began to take note. Traders who had hoped to exploit human colonies reconsidered their plans. Diplomats approached Earth cautiously, aware that humans were no longer naive, no longer willing to be taken advantage of. Humans had shown that patience could turn into power, and kindness could turn into strategy. On the Indomitable, Marcus Hale reviewed reports from multiple engagements. The strikes had been successful, precise, and targeted. No unnecessary destruction had occurred. Humans had demonstrated their capability, intelligence, and discipline. "They see us differently now," he said to Lieutenant Chen. "They see a species that can defend itself, a species that will act when pushed, and a species they cannot ignore." Lieutenant Chen nodded. "They fear us because they respect us. Every species that doubted humanity will think twice now. They have learned the value of patience and the cost of underestimating it." President Yamada, speaking to the press from the capital of New Tokyo, addressed the galaxy indirectly. "Humanity has acted to protect its people, its colonies, and its dignity. Our first strike was a warning, not an act of aggression. Every species now knows we are fair, but we are not naive. Respect is earned, and humanity demands it." Meanwhile, intelligence officers continued to monitor alien fleets. Plans were being reconsidered, strategies rewritten, and alliances reformed under the new understanding of human capability. Some species, realizing the futility of underestimating humans, sought peaceful negotiations. Others prepared for defense, unsure if further human strikes were imminent. Across human colonies, the message was clear. Unity, intelligence, and perseverance were humanity's greatest weapons. Ordinary citizens contributed to the effort, ensuring that fleets were supplied, research continued, and colonies were secure. Children and adults alike took pride in a species that had been underestimated for centuries, now commanding respect through strategy, courage, and ingenuity. As the days passed, alien civilizations came to a new understanding. Humans were not to be mocked, exploited, or ignored. The first strike had changed perceptions forever. Where once humans had been seen as kind, passive, and forgiving, They were now respected, feared, and admired. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Patience is a choice, and when that choice ends, humans are unstoppable. On the observation deck of the Indomitable, Marcus Hale looked at the stars and smiled. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The galaxy now knows our strength, but our journey is far from over. Every species that doubted us will remember today, and every action we take from now on will reinforce the truth. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is not naive, and humanity will not be ignored." Lieutenant Chen joined him. "The galaxy will never underestimate humans again," she said. "They have seen what patience can achieve, and they have seen what happens when patience ends. They know our resolve, and they fear the consequences of crossing us." In the colonies, on the front lines, and in hidden observation posts across human space, the same thought echoed. Humanity had awakened. The first strike had been more than a battle. It had been a statement. The galaxy was beginning to understand that humans were patient, kind and fair, but also clever, relentless, and capable of immense power. And as the humans prepared for their next moves, alien civilizations across the stars knew one undeniable truth. The era of underestimating humanity was over. The galaxy had been shocked, and humanity was just beginning to show its full potential. The galaxy had changed forever. In just weeks, humans had gone from being underestimated to being recognized as a force that could not be ignored. Alien civilizations, long accustomed to exploiting human patience, were now forced to reassess their assumptions. Humanity had made its point. Patience was not weakness, and kindness was not a shield against injustice. It was a choice, and now humans had chosen to assert themselves. On the bridge of the flagship Indomitable, Captain Marcus Hale observed the fleets of other species attempting to regroup. "They are scrambling," he said to Lieutenant Aisha Chen. "They don't know what to do. Every alliance they try to form, every strategy they attempt is slow, hesitant, and ineffective. They have finally learned that humans do not give in to exploitation." Chen nodded. "Our first strikes proved our strength, but now we show consistency. They know we are serious, and they know our patience has limits. Every civilization that underestimated us will think twice before challenging humanity again." Human fleets moved with precision across multiple sectors. Small rapid response units intercepted pirate raids before they could harm colonies. Strategic strikes disabled aggressive fleets without unnecessary destruction. Trade routes were secured, ensuring resources and communication remained uninterrupted. Every action reinforced the message. Humans were prepared, intelligent, and united. In distant colonies, the reaction was a mix of awe and inspiration. Ordinary humans watched as fleets coordinated flawlessly, using speed, tactics, and intelligence to neutralize threats. Children asked about the battles, about courage, and about the strength of humanity. Teachers explained how patience, strategy, and unity could combine to create remarkable outcomes. Across the galaxy, humans were not only defending themselves, they were inspiring a sense of pride and possibility in every colony. On Zarnak Prime, leaders who had once mocked humanity now hurriedly sought diplomacy. "We underestimated them," one admitted to his council. "We thought humans would forgive, that they would remain passive. We were wrong. They are stronger than we imagined. They are smarter, and we cannot ignore them." Elsewhere, alien species debated alliances and defensive strategies, realizing that humans were no longer predictable. Every move they had assumed would be easy to counter was anticipated. Every weakness exploited, and every delay turned into a human advantage. The psychological impact of human strategy was profound. Civilizations that had once ruled through intimidation were now cautious, hesitant, and respectful. Back on Earth, President Alaric Yamada addressed a global audience. His voice was calm but firm, carrying the weight of humanity's resolve. "The galaxy has seen what patience and intelligence can achieve. Humanity has acted to defend its people, its colonies, and its dignity. We do not fight for conquest. We fight to ensure that every species understands that fairness, respect, and integrity are not to be ignored. From this moment forward, the galaxy will respect humanity." In hidden laboratories across human space, Dr. Layla Arman monitored alien communications and fleet movements. "They are adapting," she noted. "They understand that humans are no longer passive, no longer predictable. Every message of diplomacy they send now carries caution. They know the consequences of underestimating us. Humanity's strategy has reshaped the galaxy's perception. Even among ordinary humans, the sense of accomplishment and unity grew. Farmers, engineers, teachers, and citizens continued to contribute to the effort. Supply lines were maintained, new technologies developed, and research continued at unprecedented speed. Humans had proven that their strength was not just military, it was intelligence, creativity, and coordination. The galaxy had learned a lesson about humanity's ingenuity and resilience that would last generations. Captain Marcus Hale convened a meeting with the top fleet commanders. "Our objective is not to conquer," he said. "It is to ensure respect, fairness, and security for our species and our colonies. We fight to protect, to defend, and to teach the galaxy that humanity cannot be ignored. Every action we take will reinforce that lesson. Every strike, every defense, every maneuver is part of a greater purpose." Lieutenant Chen added, "We have shown them our strength, but we must also show our wisdom. Human victories are not just about power, they are about precision, intelligence, and restraint. That combination is what earns respect. That combination is what makes humanity remarkable." As the weeks passed, human operations expanded to include not only defense, but also diplomacy backed by strength. Alien species now approached human leaders with caution, willing to negotiate fairly. Trade agreements became balanced, colonies were protected, and disputes were resolved with respect for all parties involved. Humans had proven that kindness could coexist with power, and that fairness could be enforced without cruelty. In one notable instance, a coalition of smaller alien species approached Earth's council, seeking protection from a larger aggressive faction. They had heard of human precision strikes and coordinated defenses, and they knew humanity would act decisively. Captain Hale welcomed the coalition representatives with diplomacy, offering support while ensuring that humanity's principles of fairness and integrity were upheld. Dr. Arman analyzed the long-term impact of humanity's actions. "We have not just fought battles," she said. "We have shifted the balance of the galaxy. Civilizations that once relied on fear now recognize the value of respect. The galaxy understands that humans are intelligent, resourceful, and united. That understanding will shape interactions for centuries." Across human colonies, celebrations were tempered by purpose. Citizens understood that while victories had been achieved, vigilance was necessary. Humans had proven their strength, but they also recognized the importance of maintaining peace and fairness. Every citizen, from the youngest student to the oldest scientist, played a role in safeguarding the legacy humanity had earned. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Marcus Hale watched distant stars. "The galaxy respects us now," he said. "Not because we sought glory, not because we wanted war, but because we defended ourselves and our principles. Humanity has changed the rules. They have learned that patience has limits and that kindness is not weakness." Lieutenant Chen smiled. "The galaxy will remember this for generations. Humans have shown that intelligence, strategy, and unity are more powerful than arrogance or exploitation. We have created a legacy of respect." Even alien civilizations that had once sought to dominate human colonies adjusted to the new reality. Trade routes were stabilized, fleets were cautious, and diplomacy became a careful balance of negotiation and mutual respect. Humans had set a new standard. Kindness, when combined with intelligence and strength, demanded recognition. In the far reaches of human space, small colonies that had once been vulnerable felt secure for the first time. Human patrols ensured that trade and communication remained safe. Scientists and engineers continued their work without fear of exploitation. Communities flourished under the protection of a species that had proven it could be patient, forgiving, and incredibly strong when necessary. The galaxy, once dismissive of humanity, now looked to Earth with admiration. Humans had shown that they could be peaceful yet powerful, kind yet formidable, patient yet decisive. Civilization after civilization began to adjust, not out of fear alone, but out of respect for a species that had mastered balance, strategy, and resilience. President Yamada, addressing the council once more, reflected on the journey humanity had undertaken. "We have not conquered through violence," he said. "We have earned respect through intelligence, preparation, and the courage to defend our dignity. Humanity has proven that patience, fairness, and kindness are strengths, not weaknesses. From this point forward, the galaxy will remember that humans demand respect, and we will continue to ensure that respect is upheld." As the sun rose over Earth, colonies and fleets across human space Citizens looked toward the future with pride and confidence. Humanity had been underestimated, exploited, and pushed to its limits. But they had risen with precision, intelligence, and courage. They had defended their people, secured their colonies, and reshaped the galaxy's perception forever. Captain Marcus Hale, standing on the observation deck of the Indomitable, gazed at the stars. "This is the beginning of a new era," he said. "The galaxy has learned the value of respect. Humanity has shown that patience is powerful, that kindness is not weakness, and that intelligence and courage together can change the course of history." Lieutenant Chen joined him. "We have not only defended humanity," she said. "We have taught the galaxy a lesson they will never forget. Every species that doubted us now understands that humans are strong, clever, and united. They respect us because we have earned it, and we will continue to deserve it every day." Across the galaxy, humans celebrated, worked, and prepared for the future. They knew that vigilance would always be necessary, but they also knew that they had established a legacy of respect, strength, and intelligence. Humanity had transformed from the underestimated species into a beacon of ingenuity, courage, and fairness. The galaxy had learned a truth that would never be forgotten. Kindness, patience, and fairness are powerful. But when humans choose to act, they act with precision, intelligence, and unstopped determination. And humanity, for the first time in history, had proven that while the